Alright, today we're having a grudge match between Cold Steel, larger spot, a 5.5 inch blade, and the Wild Steer WX. I don't know what it's marketed as. I think it's basically an undefeatable outdoor tool, probably. You know, the Espada is definitely more of a martial design, or a fighting design, and it has its roots, of course, from this Spanish Navaja. So it has a 5.5 inch blade, hollow ground. This is the 8A model. It is coming out now in XHP with a taper grind or flat grind. But we have these, so we're having the test. The Wild Steer, this blade is 58 RC, by the way. The Wild Steer has a blade X46 C13, which I believe is basically a real close equivalent to 420 steel. Now they say on the website this blade is 54, 55 RC. I checked the RC on this knife. This one's unsharpened for the test. Came out to be 48 RC, which is incredibly low for stainless steel for a knife. So that's going to tell you that it's not going to hold an edge probably very long, being first of all an equivalent of 420, and that it's pretty low RC. But what that also does mean is it'll be really, 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 really tough. So you're not going to crack, break, or chip, because it's basically not hard enough to crack, break, or chip. It just will bend or deform, which can be good and bad. It's bad if you have a good sharp edge and you're cutting a lot of stuff and you run out of resistance, edge resistance, or abrasive resistance. But it's good that it'd be pretty darn hard to break it, even actually trying to break it, because it's going to be like, soft. I mean, we don't even make machetes this soft, so it's pretty darn soft. We're going to do impact tests, and then we're going to do weight hang tests. I usually like to test knives that are maybe equal to each other in some manner, or in the same use. These knives obviously are not in the same use. If you want to buy this knife and you want this type of knife, no one's probably going to sell you on this knife, and vice versa. If you want this and you want to go out in the woods and baton stuff, or dig holes, or whatever you do out in the woods with a pocket knife, this wouldn't be the one. You wouldn't say, oh, the Espada is better for that. Let's be honest with that. But the key here is this is just a lock measuring contest. That's no pun intended, because this is going to be a really strong lock. It's all steel. It's heavy. I measured 9.9 ounces. I weigh 9.9 ounces on it. This is 8.5 ounces, so this is actually almost an ounce lighter. Of course, this is pretty usable. This obviously is a bit more time to open and close. It has a back lock on it. This is kind of an old thing that maybe they reinvented. And then, kind of scary sometimes. So the back lock comes in here, and then you have to pull this trigger. So that's like a safety or a secondary lock. I don't know, either one. And then the third lock here, so once you put that cam down, this isn't moving anywhere. So at that point, it's pretty well locked in. It's odd that, and maybe I didn't do any research. Oh, okay, I didn't do any research really. But it seems to be only left-handed carry, set up for left-handed carry. I don't know what's the deal there. This does have a compartment in here for a tool, kind of cool, like a screwdriver, and you can put it through here. And I think there's some applications for archery or some other outdoor applications or tool type of applications. Pretty neat. It does have a little bit of wobble when it's closed. I don't like that, but the point doesn't come out, so it's not in an unsafe manner at all. It's just the way it is. So we have this one here. Both of the edges and points have been taken off. And we're going to put this in the impact machine, lock it all down, and give it spine wax, and this also. I expect this to obviously pass when you have a lock on a lock on a lock. I think it's all going to hold still. Is it overkill? Maybe to some people. I don't think it's overkill, but you know, sometimes you have so many things that maybe it's not practical for a certain use. So whatever your use is. So let's go right over here. We'll throw the Espada in first. As you can see, fully functional. Now I have the strike plate set up to where they're going to hit about the same spot, about 1 inch above their respective pivot pins. And what we're looking to do is get 5 spine wax. I've explained the whole techniques to this thing on other videos, so I don't want to be redundant. But I will mention there's 30 pounds of weight. I'm going to torque this down to 30 pounds. It's enough to where it has movement when it impacts, as it would in your hand. But it's also snug enough here that it's not going to swing and whip. Okay, so we're going to go for 5. 1. 2. You can't exactly test everything, you know, perfectly equally or fairly. If you're a fan of the other knife and it didn't do well, you would criticize this test. But there's really no perfectly fair way to test things that are different designs, different thicknesses, different widths. So all we can do is put it through our standard test, which this is our standard test. It's a 4?
I believe so.
And we'll call it 4. And maybe just for one more, just in case, I would hate to be
Why not?
criticized for not being able to count. I get enough. And that's 5.
Or 6.
Or 6, could be 6. Again, this 5 sets of spine wax are the standard at 30 pounds of weight that we put every single cold steel production knife through. If it can't pass this test, it goes back to the drawing board. Every knife that's being produced passes this test. And I expect nothing less from this thing. When you have all steel handles, and again, a triple locking system, you certainly should see some impressive performance. I should mention this blade's quite a bit thicker than the Espada blade. Thickness goes a long way. This blade thickness goes a long way as far as lock strength goes. If you're relying on the blade to lock a blade feature. Yeah, that's 150 thou, and this one is 175. So you're looking at 25 thou thicker. That's a good bit. You can see how that rebounds differently. It will be interesting to see if any play develops. Don't think because the Espada swung the whole way down and this swings differently that it's totally unfair. Nothing's perfectly fair. Is that 4? I don't think I can talk and count at the same time.
I can't listen and count. I have to use my hands.
Okay. So we normally would do the overstrikes now. meaning we were going to hit the blade in the other direction, right near the pivot. But the way this thing works, it's just kind of in the way. So there's no play at all. You can see the. I don't know if I can get a close up in here. But on the Espada, there's no denting. They're very, very light denting in here.
Yep, you can see just a little bit of a mark.
Yeah, you took in this finish off, and that's got a dent in it. That's a consequence of that soft steel. But soft steel is very tough. So let's go on over to the weight hang. Come in here. We have these pins, so we can change it. We're hanging the weight. In this case, they're both going to hang 4.5 inches from the pivot. So then whatever your total weight here is that it's going to hold, you multiply that by 4.5, and you'll get basically the amount of, got it all locked down, the amount of, I think, inch-pounds of torque into the locking area. So again, this is a heavy knife. It's an ounce, almost an ounce heavier, not quite, maybe 3/4 of an ounce heavier. So we put our paracord here. And using that lanyard to stop it, 4.5 inches here. So we will go with 100 pounds. Do the first thing. Actually, it's going to be 90 pounds. Slight adjustment. Okay, 90 pounds. I expect this to hold a lot of weight, so we're going to go up pretty quickly. But I'm trying to, with all knives, whether they're cold steel knives or competitor knives, I try to be nice and smooth on this release here. So that easily held 100 pounds or 90 pounds. While we're here, we'll give it a little check for. It's got a lot of play, as you can see that and hear that, but it's still completely locked up. And the boat on the back side, it is locked here and here. That's exactly what's looking like back here. So we have it as locked down as it can be locked down. Okay, so I'm going to throw on and put 10 on, so we're going to have even 200 pounds. Is that right?
It'd be 190.
190. 190, all right. So, I expect this, it should hold a lot of weight. There's a lot of steel, a lot of safeties. So here we go for 190 pounds. Give that a few seconds, 5 seconds. That's 190 successful. Okay. Yeah, another 90. I even bought more weights because I thought we were going to have a real showdown here with this. Oh, put my 10 back on. Okay, where are we at?
$280.
280. At first, when I examined this knife, I said, the tang's probably going to break. But when I found it to be 48 RC, I said, now the tang's not going to probably break. 48 RC doesn't break very readily. Okay, that's whatever he said. $280 that was?
$280.
Alright, we're gonna add 90 more. We might end up breaking our paracord here. It seems to be having a lot of stretch.
It's an incredible stretch.
Incredible stretch. People are gonna be like, man, this video is too long. I'm like, yeah, I can move all the damn weights. I hope the paracord holds. Where are we at now?
370.
370. We're gonna have to kind of weight our table pretty quickly here. Teams. Oh. My paracord's held a lot of weight for a lot of years. Okay, emergency repair.
There's some cord right there.
Right there. Apparently we're gonna have to double up on our method here.
Catch it not.
Maybe we can edit out this tedious act.
Nah.
All right. Now I'm going to disclaimer that this could. Is this the right one? Switch that. Paracord could fail instantly. All right, where were we? What number is this?
$370.
370. Oh, jeez. Wow. That was really something right there. I saw the last one. I saw this lock trying to buckle, and it's weird. It even smells weird now. Okay, so what happened is, very interestingly, hang on right there. This has, if we can get it all out, not so much a lock bar. This is actually the spring, I think, that gave it its snappiness when it was closed. But there was a pin through here, you can see. I don't know if you can get in there or not. This got ripped away from that. It held what?
Held 280.
Held 280, broke at
370.
370. Okay. This is our Spada from the test. It has the marks on the back of the blade. So we'll take the thumb stud off here. Now, people will say, if you love this knife, you'll say, "Oh, I'm never going to put 200, whatever it held, that much weight on the blade, or whatever the lock was." Yeah, hope you don't. But at the same time, went all over the internet that that's talked about as being stronger than our Triad lock, and then it holds 280 pounds. It's not quite as strong. Well, we don't know that because we haven't tested this, but I think we'll have good results. So as you can see, that's moving. Let me strip some of this off. We'll start with a little bit under that weight. Let's just start right there. I'm tired of moving these. The weight is the same distance, 4.5 inches, that the other knife was. I don't know that it's fair or unfair not to. Let's just do it the exact same. So I can avoid criticism. Okay, here we go. This is 100 pounds.
90. 90.
90 pounds, sorry. We used to have a whole rig with the bar and all. Is exactly 10 pounds, and we call it 100. I'm used to that. And I believe the next weight is going to be 190.
We adding a 10?
180.
Yeah, 180. Now it's 190.
190. We did that last time, right?
Yep.
Hope our paracord gets one more round out of this. Wonder why that wasn't going down. My foot was on it. My foot's really started to hurt. Alright, 190. I believe we went up another 90.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes, correct.
Alright. Alright, here we go. Okay, as you can see, it's holding whatever that was,
280.
280. So that's the weight the last one held, right?
Yes.
Or it might have been 290, that 10 might have been on there, I don't know.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Alright, that's okay. We'll throw this up. Now that other knife, here, we gave it, I thought it was going to be stronger, to be honest with you, so that's why I went up a full 90 pounds. It held 280, but but it maybe it would have broke at 3 and never, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Where are we at?
370.
370. This broke the wild steer.
Yes.
Okay. Bear in mind, this knife is an ounce lighter, almost, so it should actually, it's not quite pound for pound, but they're not quite the same use anyway. Okay, there you go. Holding that weight, and let's test the knife out. So right now, we beat that knife, well, we don't know how much we're going to apply, but it's going 90 more pounds today. I would say, you can see there's a little tick in the blade. You can probably hear that. But this is only a G10 frame. Pull it out. I'm going to throw the thumb stud back on, thumb plate, and we'll see it function. You can see the lock bar sunk down a bit. That's what it's supposed to do. As things deform and stretch out, it sinks down further in. Actually, right now, now that the lock got reset, if you get something like that deforms the lock here, the next time you open or close it, or it'll sink in more. Right? So right now, there's very, very little compared to how there was. There, it's down in there again. Now there's no more play with sinking in, and there's probably some deformation right there. That once that passes that, it sinks down in deeper, and it's tight again. There is some wobbling here. I think something's loose. I think the internal pin is loose, but pretty functional. So again, winner, Cold Steel Espada.